Welcome to our reaction video on David Sacks' speech at the Bitcoin conference in May 2025. Today, we're diving into his insights on Bitcoin, the Trump administration's first 100 days, AI, and innovation. As the crypto czar, Sacks outlined some big moves, and our goal here is to break it all down, especially if you're new to crypto, AI, or politics. We'll keep it informational, constructive, and add some context to help you understand what this means for the future. Let's get started.
And I feel like this administration is moving at the speed of a startup, which is something that you know a lot about, but it's moving at breakneck speed. It came in with a plan, with promises. Oh, and by the way, the other big point from last summer was free Ross.
Yes.
And
Definitely a huge campaign promise. So, we just had the first 100 days in the administration, and it's just incredible how much the president's gotten done. Just in the area of crypto, it's really amazing. I mean, I never do this, but there was so much that's happened in the last 100 days. I have to pull out my cheat sheet. I hope that's okay.
Yeah, how much time do we have? Because
this
might take a little while.
Let me just highlight a few of the most important things. So first of all, you're right that on the president's first full day in office, he pardoned Ross Ulbricht. So that was 2 days later, he signed a week one executive order to promote U.S. leadership in digital assets. That EO prohibited CBDCs. It ordered the end of Operation Choke Point 2.0, and it created our President's Working Group on Digital Assets that I'll get to in a second.
Let's pause here to explain Operation Choke Point 2.0 since David Sacks just brought it up. For those new to crypto, this term describes a controversial tactic allegedly used by regulators, especially under the Biden administration, to pressure banks into cutting ties with crypto businesses. It's named after the original Operation Choke Point from 2013, which targeted industries like payday lending by making it hard for them to access banking services. In 2.0, critics say regulators used informal guidance and vague reputational risk threats to scare banks away from crypto firms, even if they were legal. Think of it like an unofficial blacklist. Banks got nervous, so they just dropped crypto clients to avoid trouble. Sacks says the Trump administration ended this with an executive order in their first week, aiming to let crypto businesses breathe easier. But some in the crypto community, like Voices on X, argue it's not fully over until all related regulations are gone. It's a big deal because it shows how much power regulators can have over innovation without passing any laws.
In March, he established the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve, which treats Bitcoin as a reserve asset of the United States for the first time. And then we also hosted the first Digital Assets Summit at the White House, which is the first time that digital assets or crypto has been treated in that way as an industry that's arrived. There's also been a ton of work that's been done on the sort of agency rulemaking side. The president rescinded the IRS's DeFi broker rule. We rescinded SAB 121, which effectively prevented banks from getting into custody of Bitcoin. The DOJ ended its regulation by prosecution approach, which ended these aggressive legal actions against digital asset firms without telling them what the rules are. I mean, we had this approach under Gensler where he would say, well, just come in and talk to us. I heard all these stories from crypto founders that they were told, well, just come in and talk to us. And then there'd be someone from the enforcement division in these meetings writing down everything they'd say. And then the next day they would get a Wells notice and the prosecution would start us. Well, who would want to, people learned very quickly not to go in and talk to the SEC. So the DOJ has ended that. The SEC has established a crypto task force to provide regulatory clarity. Hester Peirce has done an amazing job with this. The Federal Reserve Board, the OCC, and FDIC have all issued favorable guidance for banks to engage in crypto-related activities, which I think is a very important step to further mainstreaming crypto adoption. And then my personal favorite is that the administration defunded the CFPB, which is Elizabeth Warren's personal regulatory agency. This was her personal goon squad to terrorize crypto companies, and and that got defunded. So that's just a small sample of what's been accomplished in just the first 100 days. Is pretty incredible.
Okay, so if some of that sounded like jargon, don't worry, we'll unpack it. First, Ross Ulbricht. He created Silk Road, an online marketplace that used Bitcoin but was tied to illegal activities. His life sentence was controversial, and his pardon is huge for crypto fans who saw him as a symbol of government overreach. Next, an executive order. It's basically a presidential rule, not a law, but it sets the tone. This one pushes crypto growth by stopping a US digital dollar, a CBDC, that could compete with Bitcoin, and it ended policies choking crypto businesses, like forcing banks to avoid them. The strategic Bitcoin reserve is a game changer. It's like the US saying Bitcoin is as legit as gold, holding it as a backup asset for economic stability. The White House summit? That's the government rolling out the red carpet for crypto leaders, showing it's not just a fringe thing anymore. Now, innovation. Sachs tied AI and crypto together because both need massive energy. Bitcoin mining uses computers to solve puzzles securing the network, but it guzzles electricity. Think of it like running a giant gaming PC 24/7. AI data centers, which train things like ChatGPT, are just as power hungry. The administration's drill baby drill approach, boosting oil and gas, aims to fuel this. Finally, global investment. Sachs mentioned $3 trillion in deals with Gulf states to build data centers here and abroad. It's about keeping the US ahead in tech, not letting places like China dominate. For beginners, think of it as a tech arms race. Crypto and AI are the weapons, and energy and investment are the ammo.
And then, you heard from Senator Haggerty a minute ago what's happening on Capitol Hill. There's the stablecoin bill's about to pass, the Genius Act, and then I don't think that's going to be the end of it. I think on the heels of that, there's also a market structure bill that's coming that I think will also likely pass before August. And the point of the market structure bill is to enshrine all of the new rules that we've put in place into law so that a future Gary Gensler can't just unwind everything that we've done.
I mean, yeah, that's a tremendous list, and that's definitely larger than the amount of promises that were made. So it's promises kept and then some.
There have been a couple of times where, in rooting out all of these insidious rules that were created over the last 4 years, some of them, we've received some serious pushback, and occasionally it's had to go all the way up to the president. And what the president always says is we have to keep our promises. I mean, it really is a point of honor that he made these promises at the Bitcoin conference last year, and he has kept all of his promises. That is very important to him.
Yeah. Cool. So what do you think so one of the things, David, I think also is the AI crossover with Bitcoin, and I think talking about building like financial infrastructure in the US and how that's an issue of national security and innovation. And Bitcoin mining, for example, the GPUs, those are the same chips that power AI. And I think it's really cool that they're all sort of meeting together. And how do you think about like the next 100 days or the next couple of years?
Well, definitely one of the common denominators between AI and crypto or Bitcoin is that you do need energy, you need power, you need electricity. You need electricity to power GPUs for AI data centers, and you need it for Bitcoin ASICs to generate hash power. So this is something that we definitely need to do more of in the United States. We need a lot.
Sachs makes a great point about AI and crypto needing energy. Let's break this down. Bitcoin mining uses GPUs, think powerful gaming chips, to solve math puzzles, securing the network. AI, like models training for self-driving cars, also needs GPUs for massive computing. Both eat electricity like a city block. Sachs says the administration's drill baby drill policy, boosting oil and gas, will power this growth. For beginners, imagine needing a bigger battery for your phone as apps get heavier. That's what's happening here. This could mean more mining and AI hubs in the US, creating jobs in places like Texas. But there's a flip side. Oil and gas aren't eco-friendly, and Bitcoin's energy use has been attacked before. Sachs notes, it's a fraction of what banks use, but environmentalists might still push back. It's a trade-off, innovation versus sustainability. And the next few years will show how it plays out.
A lot more power to basically fuel this future of AI and crypto. And I think the president definitely got us off on the right foot by, with drill, baby, drill. He definitely wants to unleash oil and gas production in the US. So that's a huge part of it.
Yeah.
Also making it a lot easier to permit new energy production, new pipelines, and then also permitting the creation of new data centers. I think we want most of the new, let's call it AI compute, and most of the new hash power to be in the US if we can. I mean, it would be nice for there to be more hash power in the United States, just like we want there to be a lot more, AI data centers. So I think, we're going to try and make it a lot easier to again, like build, beyond drill, baby, drill, we need to build, baby, build, and it just needs to be a lot easier in the United States.
Yeah, that's a great point. Like energy is so important for the growth of these technologies. And in the last Bitcoin cycle, there was people sort of talking about the energy consumption and carbon footprint of Bitcoin mining, which was pretty silly because it was still a fraction of the traditional financial system and the internet. And I think one of the things we probably want to watch out for is people trying to use ESG to try and attack Bitcoin from that vector and just, call it out and make sure we don't get Greta pilled over here and deindustrialize.
Yeah. And, I just got back from a trip to the Middle East with the president, and he did something like $3 trillion of new deals with the Gulf states, Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Qatar. And I think the president's been very focused on getting, net new investment in the United States, including for data centers. Also helping American technology, the American technology stack spread internationally and become the standard. So for example, we just did a deal in the UAE where they're going to be building a huge campus for American AI companies, cloud service providers, hyperscalers to build new data centers, and then they're going to make a matching investment in the United States in the build out of data centers. So this is the kind of stuff that the president's looking at. He wants to encourage investment in the US. He wants to encourage the build out of data centers. He wants to encourage new energy sources. And just generally, he's on the side of innovation and the future. Whereas if you look at the Biden administration, they were really doing everything they could to stop all of those things. I mean, you had the Gensler SEC, you had all the restrictions on oil and gas. They were even alienating our Gulf state allies who want to invest in America and they want to be on the American tech stack. And the Biden administration was doing everything they could to limit the export of American technology, forcing those countries to potentially choose Huawei. It just didn't make any sense at all. So
Sachs makes a great point about AI and crypto needing energy. Let's break this down. Bitcoin mining uses GPUs, think powerful gaming chips, to solve math puzzles, securing the network. AI, like models training for self-driving cars, also needs GPUs for massive computing. Both eat electricity like a city block. Sachs says the administration's drill baby drill policy, boosting oil and gas, will power this growth. For beginners, imagine needing a bigger battery for your phone as apps get heavier. That's what's happening here. This could mean more mining and AI hubs in the US, creating jobs in places like Texas. But there's a flip side. Oil and gas aren't eco-friendly, and Bitcoin's energy use has been attacked before. Sachs notes, it's a fraction of what banks use, but environmentalists might still push back. It's a trade-off, innovation versus sustainability. And the next few years will show how it plays out.
So I feel like what we have in Washington right now is just a sea change. It's just a total comprehensive shift from being anti-innovation to being pro-innovation and being, much more future-oriented and getting all the obstacles out of the way and helping the private sector innovate. And it's really just been incredible. It's been really fun to be part of. Like I said, I never anticipated that I'd be part of this administration. I'm just a guy from Silicon Valley who hosted a dinner, and then the next thing you know, I'm helping to drive this agenda in Washington. But I think that it's been really incredible to be part of and see the whole thing take shape.
To wrap up, David Sacks painted a picture of a Trump administration all in on crypto and innovation. From Bitcoin reserves to AI-powered data centers, the first 100 days set a bold tone. For beginners, it's a sign crypto's going mainstream, but there's more to watch. Will these policies stick, and how will they play out? Sacks sees us in the first inning of a long game, and he's probably right. What do you think? Excited? Skeptical? Drop your thoughts below and subscribe for more breakdowns on crypto, AI, and politics. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.